Okay. So I wonder how the world would be if we don't share things. And every one of us share. When you go to the party, your birthday party, you share your cakes with people. You go to the restaurant, you share pizza with people and many other things. I hope you've all experienced that before.
Yes.
I hope you've all experienced that before.
Yes.
Yeah. So we all share things. So this concept we are coming to learn today, it's very important in how you understand maths. And we call it fractions. Fractions sound familiar to a word that you've heard before, either at the hospital or somewhere. Which word does it sound like? You?
Fraction.
Like a fracture. What does a fracture mean? Fracture. You?
When you're having a
Yeah, when there is a break. Is that not it? So fractions are very related to that word fracture. So when we break things or we share things, we are looking at fractions. Is that okay? So I'll just draw a shape here so that we can imagine how that's supposed to be. So I have pizza and I share it into 4 equal parts. So this, and I take one out of the 4 equal parts. So I take one like this. So we can call this a fraction. So this will now look like I've taken 1 out of 4 parts. So usually to represent this same diagram here, I write the total parts downwards. I put a bar in between and I write the parts I have taken. Do you get that? So how many total parts do we have here? How many total parts do we have here?
4.
Okay, we have 4 total parts. And how many parts have I taken?
1.
So I've taken 1. So I can say I've taken 1 out of 4. Do we get it? Alright, so the one at the top has a name. It's called a numerator. You could remember. That's what? The denominator. Denominator. So 1 out of 4. And the bar has a very fanciful word. It's not a word you popularly hear. It's called the vinculum. Say the vinculum.
Vinculum.
Alright, so the bar between the 2 fractions is what we call the vinculum. So basically, that's how fractions are. And how then do we define fractions? Please take your seats. How then do we define fractions? Fractions are equal parts of a whole. So fractions are equal parts of a whole. Very interesting. Let me highlight this word equal. This word equal is very important because if we don't say equal parts, it won't define a fraction. For example, if I have this, watch here, if I should have something like this, okay, let me use the same. So I have this, and I share it into 4 parts. 1, 2, 3. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 parts. The total parts are what? 4, right? How many total parts do you have here? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4. And if I take 1 out of it, it looks like 1 out of 4. But this, would we call this a fraction? Why wouldn't we call it a fraction? You tell me. Yes, because the parts are unequal. So this, though it is in 4 parts, it is not a fraction. Is that okay? Alright, so we want to look at the various types, revise the various types of fractions.